Hi, guys. It's Kathy. I hope you're doing well. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing I did yesterday. I'm going to start this, and when I need to go take my daughter to work, just going to let it play. And hopefully, my sound doesn't go out because, sometimes it does that, but it hasn't done that in a while. So I'm just going to run her to work real quick, and you guys are on your own. You guys will have to keep the chat going a little bit so YouTube doesn't nail me. But unfortunately, I think we only have 2 more videos. So we have this this one. It's an hour and 40 minutes, and we've done 16 minutes of it. Then we have this one, which is 2 hours long. Oh, no, I'm wrong. I was gonna say, and then I think Cato might be done, but no, because I can't see him here. I can't see him here, but look, he's still here. So he's not here though, unless he got a haircut and changed his whole face. So we have a little bit more of Cato. Oh, look, Fung. We're gonna get to Fung soon. That'll be interesting. Stop. We're never gonna get anywhere if we don't press play, right?
At your door between 5 and 6 in the morning?
No.
Now, do you recall how many officers there were at your door?
4.
Right. And who was the one speaking to you when you first opened the door?
I don't know his name. I don't know that detective's name.
Okay. Was it Phil Van Adder?
No.
Was it Tom Lang?
No.
Was it Mark Furman?
No.
Was it Ron Phillips?
If that was the 4th detective, yes.
Okay. But you know who Phil Van Adder is, right?
Yes.
You know who Tom Lang is?
Yes.
You know who Mark Furman is?
Yes.
Okay. It wasn't one of those?
No.
Okay. It was the 4th guy?
Yes.
When they asked if you lived there, what did you say?
Yes, I stayed in this the guest house.
What did you tell when the 4 officers first came to your door? What did you tell them?
Well, I also had said, "Is everything okay?" I said, "Did OJ's plane crash?"
Did you say OJ's plane or did you say the plane?
Sustained. Bleeding.
Do you recall whether you said it was OJ's plane or the plane?
I possibly could have said the plane crash. The plane crash. I could have, and I think I did. I was worried about a plane crash.
And did they respond to that?
No.
Was that the first thing you said?
It was one of the very first, if not the first.
Okay. Did you tell them who lived there?
Gosh, I don't remember if I did. I don't think I did.
Okay. At some point, did you direct them to Arnell's house?
Yes.
Arnell's unit, and why was that?
They had asked who else lived on the grounds, and I pointed to her room.
Did they ever ask if they could get into the house or someone could help them with that?
They asked me if I had keys to the house, if I could get into the house. I said no, and that's why I pointed to I believe Arnell.
And after you pointed out Arnell's unit, what happened next?
So I pointed to Arnell's unit, and they knocked on her door. I believe it was two detectives went and knocked on the door, and they pounded on the door for a while, and then Arnell came out.
And you saw Arnell come out?
Yes.
And where were you when she did that?
At my doorway.
And was somebody? Which officers were staying with you?
One was Detective Furman, and I don't know the other one.
Okay. Are you sure there were 2 detectives staying with you?
No.
Did you have a conversation with Detective Furman?
Yes.
By the way, when the officers went over to Arnell's door, can you tell us how long it took her to answer before she answered?
Boy, they pounded for a while, and I guess it seemed like 2 minutes might have been a very long time for the pounding that was going on. So 2 to 3 minutes.
And during that time that they were knocking on her door, what were you doing?
I was wondering why she wasn't getting the door because it
Okay.
seemed pretty loud. And that was it.
Were you talking to anyone?
I think I was.
Who?
I think it was Detective Furman.
And what were you telling? Was he asking you questions at that time?
We went in my room after Arnell came out.
Okay. What happened when you and Detective Furman went into your room?
Yes.
Okay. After Arnell came out and you and Detective went into your room, Detective Furman went into your room, what happened next?
He asked me some questions.
Okay. What did he? Before he asked you questions, what did he do in the room?
He looked around the room.
Okay. And what do you mean he looked around the room?
Well, he was in my room, and I was kind of pointing things out in the room.
This is my bed, and this is my dresser, and this is my that thing, closet.
Do you have closets in that room?
Yes.
Can you indicate where on this photograph those closets are?
Yeah, in the on the top photograph here.
Okay, direct the light.
It's straight against. Go straight up, and go to a little bit to your right. Right there.
Okay, this door is a closet.
There's
The
there's
first
doors
tab.
there. Correct.
These two
Two
doors.
of them. Right. Now the
I
one
do
on the
too.
on your far right, that's more the clothes closet, and the other one has just a little like stove in it. You could store things in, but it's more not a closet, but like a little stoves in there, and you can stack stuff up on top.
Okay. Do you recall whether those closet doors were open or closed when Detective Furman stepped in your room that night or morning?
I don't recall.
And so you showed him around the room.
Yeah, I pointed to. I mean, the closet for me, I probably had it open, but I showed him the room,
And he looked around.
and he looked around.
What did he ask you?
He asked me what I wore last night, the night before.
And what did you do?
What
I
were you
showed him.
wearing?
And where were those clothes?
There's a chair that I usually hung things on. So my pants were there, and then I had boots. And he looked at the boots, and he examined the bottoms of the boots.
So he looked at your clothing and your boots?
Yes.
What else did he ask you?
He asked me, well, I still showed him like the typewriter, what I was doing that night. I showed him the office. I said, there's a typewriter I was trying to type yesterday. And I brought up the noise, the thumps that I heard to him.
Did he ask you where you'd been the night before?
No, I don't. He asked me what I have did the night before, and I told him about talking to Rachel.
And at any point, do you recall discussing with him whether or not you'd been drinking or doing any drugs the night before?
Yes, he asked me that. And he gave me a test.
What kind of test did he give you?
I think it was a pen.
He took a pen out?
A pen, he might have had a light in my eyes. But he had a pen, and I followed it.
He made you follow the pen?
Yes.
Watching back and forward? Okay. Can you tell us how you looked that night when you got woken up between 5 and 6 a.m.?
How I looked that night?
Mm-hmm.
Very tired.
How about your eyes?
Red. And I mean,
That's
they were very red.
2024.
I just read, and I think he might have assumed that he asked me if I was smoking marijuana.
Had you been?
No.
All right. You told him about the thumps on the wall.
Yes.
Did you tell him what time you heard those thumps?
At the best of my recollection, I don't remember if I told him the time on that. I told him about the noise I heard.
Mm-hmm. You don't remember if you told him what time or not?
I don't think I did.
You don't think you did?
I don't remember if I right now I don't know if I did. I know I said I heard this noise, these thumps. To him I told.
All right. What is the state of your answer, sir? Is it that you do not remember whether or not you told him, or you think you did not?
That I do not remember.
You don't remember.
I don't remember.
You might have told him.
I might have.
Okay. Did you tell him that you had gone out to that walkway area twice earlier that night to investigate the thumps?
No.
All right. You indicated also that you told him about Rachel. What did you say about that?
I was telling her that I was telling about the night before, and I was talking to her most of the night.
Did you have any conversation with him about the defendant's white Ford Bronco?
No.
All right. Do you recall whether or not you had any conversation with him about seeing a limousine at the house the night before?
I think I did tell him that about the limousine.
Did you ever tell him what time the defendant left the house?
I don't think I did at that time. No.
Anything else happened during your any other conversation that you can remember?
No, I think after we did the test, we're all going to go inside the main house.
Okay. How long did your conversation with Detective Furman last, sir?
I think about 5 minutes inside the room.
Is that an estimate you're giving us?
Estimate about 5 minutes.
After your conversation, what did you do?
I followed whatever they told me to do. I did. So we all went outside.
Okay. Did he tell you to come outside?
Yes.
And where did he take you?
I followed through into the main house.
Who did you follow?
I believe Arnell was leading with Key and the rest of the detectives.
Okay, so you actually saw Arnell walking into the house ahead of you?
Yes.
And did you walk in behind her
Yes.
with Detective Furman?
Yes.
When you entered the house, did you enter before or after Detective Furman?
I think I was before.
Okay. You were ahead of him?
I was ahead of him.
And when you entered the house, what area did you go to?
When you go into that door, there's a bar area. And I went to the bar area.
You went to the bar area?
Yes.
And what did you do at the bar area?
They asked me to have a seat there.
Detective Furman?
I believe so.
So you sat at the bar area, did you?
Yes.
Then what happened?
Well, I sat at one of the stools, the bar, and then Detective Van Etter sat next to me.
Now, after you sat down at the bar area, where did Detective Furman go? Did he stay with you?
No.
Did he leave?
He wasn't in the room with me.
Did he leave after you sat
Yeah,
at the
he
bar?
wasn't in the room, so he left.
And then Phil Van Adder came and sat down and talked to you, did he?
Yes.
And what did you tell him?
I went over pretty much the same things and told him more about the entire night. And he wrote things down.
He took notes?
Yes.
Recall during your conversation with Detective Van Adder what you told him about where Mr. Simpson was.
Yes,
And what did you tell him?
that he was on a flight. He went to Chicago.
Now we have people's.
Please.
Okay. Do you see the area that you have earlier been discussing called the bar area?
Yes.
Would you please direct the light, sir?
Go straight up. That's the seats. That's the bar.
Okay. Is that where you sat?
I sat in no, next one. That one.
You sat in that chair?
Yeah, I'm pretty positive that was the chair.
All right. And that's where Detective Furman asked you to sit earlier?
Yes,
Where did Detective Van Adder come and sit when he spoke to you?
next to it, though. That one.
Now, you indicated that you told him that the defendant was in Chicago.
Yes.
Okay. And did you tell Detective Van Adder what time the defendant left?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you tell him?
That he was took a limo to the airport, and I thought it was about 11:15.
So you told Detective Van Adder what time
Yes.
the defendant left. At the time that you had this discussion with Detective Van Adder, was Mark Furman standing near you?
No.
What else did you tell Detective Van Adder?
That I also told him about the noises, the thumps that I heard.
Did you tell him what time you heard the thumps?
I believe so.
And what did you tell him?
That I heard the thumps at about 10:40. That I was on the phone at the time. I thought there was an earthquake. My picture moved.
And at that time, were you and Detective Van Adder alone in the bar area?
Yes, I was facing the front of the bar, and I couldn't see behind me. But I believe we were just the two in that area. I'm pretty positive.
All right. While you were seated at the bar area with Phil, towards the end of that conversation, did something occur that drew your attention?
Oh yes.
And what was that?
Arnell had like screamed.
What did she scream?
She said, "Oh my God!"
And where did that sound appear to be coming from?
The kitchen.
On this photograph, sir, I know it's not depicted in the photograph. Can you tell us in a general direction the kitchen would be?
Do you know the seat that I was in?
Yeah, start there, direct the dot.
And go to your right all the way. Yeah, past, but it's off, but it's being there. Past
That
there
direction. Okay. And can you walk from the bar area into the kitchen area? Is there like a hallway there?
yet. Yes.
So you heard her scream, "Oh my God." And then what happened?
And I was sitting there, and I knew something was very wrong.
Then what happened?
And I believe the detective finished the interview with me, and he had told me what had happened.
Okay. And what did he tell you?
That Nicole was murdered.
And when after he told you that, well, at the time that he told you that, was it just again you and he alone in the bar area?
I think at that moment we were alone, and I think then Arnell was walking in also.
As he was telling you?
Yes.
And where did she walk in from? What direction?
That were the kitchen area back into the bar area.
What? And then after Arnell came into the bar area, what happened next?
We hugged and
And
That
then
went to the kitchen area.
who went into the kitchen area?
I think we all were in there, in the kitchen area from what I remember.
When you say we all, who are you talking about?
Well, I went with Detective Vanetta in there, and I think Detective Lang was in there, and Arnell was there, and then there was a phone call that was going to be made.
Okay. You indicated earlier there was a fourth detective whose name you do not recall. Was he in there as well?
I believe so.
Did you see Detective Furman in there at that time?
The other two, I can't be 100% positive if he was in there or not. It seemed
Who do you recall seeing in the kitchen, Mr. Kalin?
I recall Detective Vanetter and Arnell and myself and Detective Lang, and that's I'm sure on, and I think the others too, but I'm not sure.
Okay, and who was making the phone call that you're talking about?
Arnell was making the call.
So you saw her with the phone in her hand, did you?
Yes,
And did you hear her speak to someone?
she was trying to. Yes.
Yeah, I have here a photograph. I'd ask you mark people's. People's 141. It was corrected apparently.
All right.
Showing you people's 141, sir. Can you tell us? You can look at your monitor. Do you recognize that area?
Yes, it's the kitchen.
That's the kitchen area, sir?
Yes, it is.
All right. Where is the phone that you're talking about?
Okay. Do you have the light?
Yeah.
Straight against the wall.
Which wall?
Go straight right now, right there. Now down, and to your right, right there.
All right. That's the phone right there?
You're on the phone. Yes.
All right. And you saw Arnell on that phone?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
And at some point, did she remain on the phone and have a conversation?
No.
What did she do?
She started crying.
And then what did she do?
She handed the phone to, I believe, Detective Lang.
And what did Detective Lang do?
He got on the phone and said what happened to, I believe, Nicole's mother.
Now, did you remain in the kitchen at that point?
Yes, I was in the kitchen.
All right. Do you recall saying anything to Phil Van Adder after that phone call with that Arnell and Detective Lang had with the Brown family?
Yes.
What?
I had mentioned to him about that noise that I heard, the thumps, if it meant anything.
Did you ask him anything about it?
Yes.
What did you ask?
I said, did you ever check on that noise that I heard behind the wall?
And what was his response?
Like a shrug. He didn't really answer.
All right. Now, after that point, you remained in the kitchen still?
Yes.
Did anyone ever ask you about, at that point, while you were in the kitchen, about the white Ford Bronco?
Yes.
And what did they ask you? Who, first of all?
I thought it was Detective Vanetter.
Detective Van Adder?
Vanetter.
And what did he ask you?
If there's keys to the Bronco.
And what was your response?
I said, yeah, I think there's keys somewhere. And I started to look for keys.
And you did look for keys then?
Yes, I did.
Did you find any?
I found the key, not the key, but I found keys, not the Bronco keys.
You never found any keys to the Bronco?
No.
Did anyone help you look for keys to the Bronco?
I thought I was doing it on my own. Arnell might have, but I know I was. But just, I was going through some drawers.
Anybody ever find keys to the Bronco?
No, not when I was there.
At some point, do you recall seeing Sydney and Justin at the house?
Yes, I do.
And where did you see them?
They were in the kitchen. They showed up in the kitchen.
When was the first time that you saw them? Before or after you spoke to Detective Van Adder at the bar area?
It was after that.
What did you do, if anything, with the children in the kitchen?
Justin started playing video games on the TV. to the side. You can't see it in the shot, but it's right to the by the chairs there. I don't know, to the right of the picture. You can't see it in there, but that's what the TV is. It hooks up to a video games, and Sydney was lying on the little nook couch.
Okay. Showing. Showing you people's 142, Mr. Kalin, can you tell us whether you can see the television that you've earlier described?
Yes, you can.
And where is it?
It's right. Yes, straight right there.
Now, at some point, how were you dressed at this particular time, if you recall?
I think I had just a shirt on, and I think pajama bottoms. I'm pretty sure.
Is a T-shirt?
A t-shirt.
Did you ask for permission to change those clothes at any point?
Yes, I did.
And was that before or after the children? You saw the children in the kitchen.
I think it was while they were there that I went to my room, changed.
Do you recall whether a police officer escorted you to your room or not?
I don't recall.
And but did you go back to your room and change
Yes, I
clothes?
did.
After you changed clothes, where did you go?
Back into the kitchen area.
And what happened after you got back into the kitchen area?
I was playing with Justin, and Sydney was lying on the little. There's a couch over here also that she was lying on trying to sleep.
What happened? At some point, were you asked to leave the property?
Yes, I was.
How long after changing clothes was that?
I think maybe 10 minutes.
When you left, and did you leave the property then when you were asked to leave?
Yes, I went on Ashford,
Did you leave on your own or were you escorted out
escorted out.
by a police officer?
Yes,
Were you warned of anything as you were escorted out of the property?
yes.
And what was that?
They said, be careful of the blood.
Were they pointing to some areas on the ground?
Well, they were just kind of walking me, and they didn't point. They were walking with me, and they said, be careful of the blood. And I looked down.
Did you see blood?
Yes,
Where was that?
in the foyer, the
Okay,
picture we
so
saw earlier, the front door.
Let me come back to that.
All right, guys, it's time. I'm going to let it play. I'll be back soon. Be good.
After you were escorted out,
Hopefully the sound stays on.
where were you escorted out to?
Okay, I went out the driveway,
Hmm.
and they asked me to wait on Ashford. They said that two uniformed police would take me to a station.
And did you go out to Ashford and wait?
Yes, I did.
And what happened after you waited on Ashford?
I waited for someone to pick me up.
Did they?
The ones that were supposed to didn't. Two others were there that took me.
And where did they take you to?
I don't know the station, what it's called. I think it's pretty near the it's like a 10-minute drive, I think. Whatever station it's called. I think it's past Bundy.
Mm-hmm.
If you follow Bundy down, I don't know the
All right. And did you then give an interview to the police officers at the station?
Yes.
Do you recall who those officers were?
Yes.
Who?
Brian Carr and Paul Tippin.
And what did you tell them?
I went over everything that I'd said before.
What you've told us here today?
Yes.
Can you recall whether when you were in the room with Detective Furman, you had that's the first police officer I guess you spoke to, is that right?
Yes.
Did you tell him when you talked about the thumps, did you describe for him what you heard and what you saw in your room?
Yes.
What did you tell him in that regard?
I was excited. I said, and then I heard these thumps. There was like 3 thumps, and my picture moved. I thought we had an earthquake.
Did you tell him what you thought
That
about that, whether or not you had
that
an
it could be
earthquake?
something, and someone might have been around.
And then when you indicate that as you were leaving the house that morning, the police officer escorted you out of the house.
Yes.
Did they have a hand on your arm?
I think so. I think they were just walking me out.
And did they steer you around those blood drops you described?
I steered myself. I saw and I didn't step near.
People's Exhibit number 112.
That's the foyer area.
Yes, it is.
And is that you indicated you saw blood drops in that area?
Yes.
People's Exhibit number 121.
Did it look like that?
Yes.
Now, during the time that you were speaking to the detectives those early morning hours of June the 13th, sir, can you describe your state of mind, your mental condition?
Tired. Disorientated. Shook up.
How long did you speak to the police officers at the station, the West LA station?
The actual talking. I was there a long time. The actual talking. I don't know how long it was. Hour here, then waited again, like another hour or two, and then they came back. And it seemed like about another hour. I was there a long time.
Do you recall approximately what time it was when you completed that interview?
I thought it was about 4 o'clock.
And what did you do then?
They took me. I was going to go back to the house. They said probably not a good idea to, because I didn't know there was all news cameras there. And
You were going to go back to Rockingham, were you?
Yes.
Okay.
And then they asked me if I want to be dropped off somewhere instead.
And what was your response?
Okay.
And where did you go?
To a friend's house.
And who was that friend?
Grant Kramer.
When you got to Grant Kramer's house, did you have a conversation with him?
Yes, we talked.
And what did you tell him?
Objection, hearsay. Sustained.
Did you talk about what had happened the night before?
Objection. Sustained.
Did Grant Kramer ask you any questions?
Grant was doing a lot of talk. He was talking. Yes, he was very excited.
Okay. Did you talk back?
Yes.
And what was the subject matter of your conversation?
Objection. Hearsay. Yes. Sustained.
May I approach?
Yes. With the report, please.
What was your frame of mind when you spoke to Grant Kramer?
Hold. Hold.
I was exhausted.
Can you tell us whether you were calm or agitated?
I was exhausted, yet I still had like energy that I was all excited.
You were all excited?
I was exhausted, but I still had the, you know, there was so much going on. I mean, I was tired, but I knew I couldn't sleep.
Mhm. Did you get a phone call? Were you at Grant Kramer's house?
At some point, yes.
From who?
Hold. Just from who?
From an attorney.
Did you have a lawyer at that time?
No.
What was his name?
Grounds. Hold.
It was Howard Weitzman
He introduced himself to you, did he?
on the phone, yes.
Okay. And did you have a conversation with him?
Yes.
Who else did you talk to?
OJ.
On the telephone?
Yes.
You talked to him after you spoke to Mr. Weitzman
I think they both were on.
at the same time?
Yes.
So when you were on the phone, were you speaking to the defendant and his lawyer, Mr. Weitzman, at the same
well,
time?
I was talking to Howard Weitzman, but then I thought that OJ came on, so I thought they were all on. I mean, I don't know, I didn't see, but I thought it was like a three-way call.
And who else did you talk to?
I think that was it. You mean on
During
the
the-
phone?
On the phone.
I don't remember right now.
During the
I-
time that you lived at Rockingham, were you acquainted with anyone who worked for the defendant?
Yes.
Who worked for the defendant?
Skip Taft.
Who else? Who is
Uh,
Skip Taft?
He's OJ's attorney for business, I believe.
Who else?
Robert Kardashian.
And what did he do for the defendant?
I don't know what the job was. I think they're friends. I don't know business wise, but I know they're friends.
Okay. Who else?
On the phone, or
No,
who other
on-
friends?
Who worked for the defendant? When you lived on Rockingham.
Kathy Randa.
Okay. Did you talk to her on the telephone that day?
I think I might have.
Was that during that same phone call?
I think so.
Do you recall who it was that initially placed the call to you at Grant Kramer's house?
It could have been Kathy plugging me into Howard Weitzman, or Howard Weitzman. I don't remember. I know I talked to him though.
Okay. So in that phone call at Grant Kramer's house, you spoke to who?
To Howard Weitzman and OJ, and I think Kathy Randa also.
Okay. And who is Kathy Randa?
OJ's secretary.
How long did you talk to them for that first time?
Wasn't very long. I'd say like 5 minutes.
And what did they say?
They said to tell the truth.
Really? Who told you that?
They both did.
Who's both?
Howard Weitzman and OJ.
How did they
It
know
was-
where to call you?
I don't know.
You didn't tell them you were going to Grant's house?
I think it was on my. I called the house up on Rockingham and said I was at a friend's house, but I don't know who answered. I can't remember who answered the phone at the house.
Did you leave a phone number where you could be reached?
I must have. I think.
Why did you call the house?
I'm trying to remember if I did. I think I was just seeing what's going on.
And you made that phone call from where?
Well, I was at the police station to make a phone call, and I had my own line, so I called in. That's when I knew something. That was a big media event. But I don't. When I went to Grant's, I don't remember giving out the number there. I just don't remember. I could have. I don't know.
So you were at the police station. Was it before or after the interview with the police that you called the defendant?
I didn't call.
You said you called the house.
House, there was people there. I don't
Who were you?
know. I
You were at
think
the
it was a
police station.
relative that picked up.
Hold on. Mr. Keelan, let Ms. Clark finish asking
Okay.
the question. Ms. Clark, let him finish speaking before you ask the next question.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
You called the house before or after the interview?
It had to be after the interview with
The police
the police.
at the West LA station.
Yes,
It was after?
it had to be because I was there. I didn't make any phone calls when I was there until after they were through with me.
All right. And what phone number did you call?
My phone.
You called your phone?
Yes.
But you weren't home.
No, but I was calling to see my messages.
Okay, you were calling to get your messages played
Yes.
back? And did you call into the main house?
Not from there. I don't remember calling from Grant's house either, though. But I could have. I probably did. But
Okay. Do you remember calling the defendant to tell him or to let someone at the house know where you'd be?
Overruled.
I probably did. Because I'm sure they were worried about me where I was.
They were worried about you? How long had you known the defendant?
It was at his house for 6 months. I met him before that, like 4 months before.
Mm-hmm. You went out on the night of June the 12th to McDonald's with him, is that right?
Yes.
Had you ever gone out to dinner with him before?
Yes.
How many times?
Maybe 2 or 3. And
In-
at the also ate at the Gretna greenhouse. Not out, but in the house.
Well, you were staying at the Gretna Greenhouse, weren't
Right,
you?
when he would come over.
Okay. And the 2 or 3 times that you had dinner with the defendant, was that in the Rockingham location in the residence?
Oh, no, yeah, out at restaurants.
And what restaurants were those?
We went actually to a Sizzler with the kids. And
And who else? The kids and who else?
just myself and OJ.
And Sydney and Justin?
Yes, and my daughter Tiffany.
How many? And your daughter Tiffany?
Yes,
And how many times did you go out with the defendant, just you and he?
not often at all.
How many times?
Maybe once, if that.
During the 6 months that you lived at Rockingham, did you go out with the defendant alone to dinner ever?
No.
After that first phone call, in which you spoke to the defendant, Kathy Randa, and the defendant's lawyer, Howard Weitzman,
Yes.
did you have another conversation with them?
That same day,
Yes.
I could have. I mean, I don't remember.
Did you also have a conversation with Skip Taft?
Yes,
And was that in the first phone call as well?
I don't remember if it's the first phone call.
And did you have a second phone call with any of the people we've mentioned, Skip Taft, Howard Weitzman, Kathy Randa, or the defendant?
I think I had another phone call with Howard Weitzman.
And who else did you talk to in that second phone call?
I don't remember what day it was. The phone call. It might have been to Robert Shapiro. that I
No,
met.
I'm talking about on June the 13th at Grant Kramer's house.
I don't know. I talked to Howard Weitzman and to OJ and Kathy Randa. That phone call, I don't remember.
Okay, after that phone call, did you have another phone call from any of those people at Grant Kramer's house on June the 13th?
Kathy Randa might have called.
Again?
Yes,
And who did you speak to in that second phone call?
it's possible I spoke to OJ.
Again? For how long?
Probably a very short time. Maybe 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay. And who else did you speak to in that second phone call?
I don't remember. I don't know if it was Howard Weitzman again or not.
You spoke to the defendant and someone else?
I just can't. I can't remember that the phone call, the one phone call. I'm trying to remember, and I can't.
Okay, how long did you speak to the defendant in the first phone call?
Maybe it's like 2 to 3 minutes.
And you spoke to him for how long in the second phone call?
Probably the same amount of time, maybe 5 max.
And during the second phone call, who did you talk to besides the defendant?
I don't know.
And in the first phone call, when you spoke to Howard Weitzman, how long did you speak to him?
Maybe 5 minutes.
And how long did you speak to Kathy Randa?
2 minutes.
And how long did you speak to Skip Taft?
I can't give like exact times. I don't know. 5 minutes.
And in the second phone call, what did you discuss with the defendant?
I said I couldn't believe what was going on, and I I was just talking about that.
About what?
I don't know. The night of strange things. I said I heard the thumping noise.
Did the defendant tell you what occurred with him after he got back from Chicago? Or did you know?
What had occurred to him after Chicago?
After he got back from Chicago, right.
No, I didn't know.
You weren't watching TV?
The TV might have been on. I knew it at some point, but I didn't know exactly what was all going on. I knew that he was arrested.
Did you talk to him about that?
I think so. I really
Yeah.
don't know the dialogue.
What time was it when you left the police station to go to Grant Kramer's house?
I think at 4 o'clock or so. 4:15.
Okay, after the second phone call, what happened next? That is the second phone call from the defendant to you at Grant Kramer's house.
I don't know. I stayed at Grant's house for a while.
Did you eventually leave his house?
Yes,
And where did you go?
I went back to the Rockingham house.
And why did you do that?
I have my clothes there.
Did
I had-
someone ask you to go back?
Um, I don't remember. I think I just went back.
You don't remember?
I went back. Yes, I went back, and OJ was there.
Mhm. Did he ask you to come back?
He could have, and I did come back.
So what time did you go back to Rockingham?
I think it was late. I think it was dark. I don't know the times, but Grant took me back.
Grant gave you a ride to the defendant's house?
Yes,
And this was after you had learned that he had been arrested for 2 murders. Is that right?
yes,
You went back to Rockingham.
yes.
And when you got back to Rockingham, who was there?
It was filled with people.
Who?
I didn't even know the people. It was a lot of relatives, friends, um, uh, faces that I didn't know, and relatives, Arnell and Jason, and
Okay, do you recall what time it was when you got there exactly?
I thought it was maybe 9:30 or 10. I don't know the time. I know the news was on.
Do you recall what time it was when you left Grant Kramer's house to go to Rockingham
I don't know the time
at all?
at all.
Who did you talk to when you went back to Rockingham?
I had a conversation with OJ.
And what did you talk to him about?
Oh,
There was a conversation that about the McDonald's that I didn't see him go back in the house, and that was what we talked about. And I said, no, I didn't see.
And did you talk to him also about the thumps on the wall?
Yes.
Did you tell him what you told the police?
Yes, that I heard this thumping. The picture moved.
And did he ask you what you told the police?
Um, he could have. I'm sure I told him and I told the truth.
You don't remember if he asked you whether or not he asked you what you told the police?
I don't. I said I said I was at the station, and I was a report, and I told what I'm telling you, that I heard these noises, but he had asked me about that I saw him go back in the house, and I didn't.
Okay. At some point, did you leave Rockingham that night?
I think I did.
And when was that?
I don't know the time, but I think I stayed at Grant's house.
And do you recall whether it was before or after midnight that you left Rockingham?
I think it could have been after midnight.
And you went back to Grant's house?
Yes,
Who else was at Grant's house besides you and Grant?
his girlfriend,
His girlfriend, what's her name?
Kathy.
And who else?
I think there was a guy there that day, but he was leaving. His name was Klein.
What about Rachel Ferraro? Was she there?
Did Rachel? She might have been there.
The segment of the video that has been previously shown to council, Marcus Peoples 143.
Ron Ship.
And where is that location shown in this video?
He's going towards the Rockingham gate.
Who's that?
It's me.
And that shirt you're wearing, sir, do you recognize it?
Yeah,
Can you remember? Do you remember whether or not that is the shirt you were wearing in the early morning hours of June the 13th?
that's also in the police station I was wearing.
You wore that shirt all day, did you?
Yes, I did.
And did you wear that shirt when you left Grant Kramer's to go back to Rockingham
Probably.
on June the 13th?
Yes. I think I wore it like 2 days, maybe.
Really?
I wore.
See that man? Who's that?
It's looks like Detective Lang and Robert Kardashian.
And who's that
And
dog?
that's Chachi. That's a chow.
That's the dog you were describing as the defendant's dog?
Yes.
All right, you spent the night then at Grant Kramer's house on the night of June the 13th.
Yes.
On June the 14th, did you receive another phone call from Kathy Randa?
I think so.
And did she ask you to do something?
To come in for an interview
Come where for an interview?
to the OJ's office building.
And did you do that?
Yes.
And who did you talk to?
At the interview,
Yes.
it was Skip Taft and Robert Shapiro.
Robert Shapiro?
Yes.
And was that interview tape recorded?
Yes.
Now, did you go back to Rockingham on June the 14th as well?
I might have gone back, but I don't think I stayed the night. I wasn't, I wasn't sleeping well, and I was exhausted. And Gigi, the housekeeper, we kind of like hung out, and I slept on the floor, and she slept in the bed, and we just kind of stayed. And I was off and on, leaving. The dates, I don't know when I left, when I came back, because I know I was going back and forth. It's very hard to
Who took
remember.
you to the defendant's office building for the interview with
Um,
Robert Shapiro?
Arnell and her friend Jonah.
And do you know whether they picked? Let me ask you something else. Do you recall Grant Kramer taking you to the defendant's house on Rockingham in the morning of June the 14th?
Yeah, I think so. He probably did.
And who asked you to go over to Rockingham that morning?
OJ.
Okay. And did you talk to him again on the morning of June the 14th at Rockingham?
I think so, that I was going to meet for the interview.
Okay. Did you speak to him at Rockingham before you left for the interview?
I don't remember. I don't know if I saw him there on Tuesday.
Right.
I could have.
Okay.
That I know I was meeting with Skip Taft and Robert Shapiro, and they took me to the office building.
And who was it that took you to the office building?
Arnell and Jonah was driving.
So they took you from Rockingham to the office building, is that
Yes,
right?
yes, they did.
And how long did you talk to Mr. Shapiro for?
I think I was there about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
And after you had that interview with Mr. Shapiro and Skip Taft, did you get a ride back to Rockingham?
Yes, I did.
And did you spend the night that Tuesday night at Rockingham?
I could have. I'm not 100% positive.
Do you recall calling Grant Kramer on the following Wednesday from Rockingham?
Probably did.
And do you recall what you said to him?
I probably said a few things. I don't know exactly what I said. I think I probably told him about the interview I had
With who?
with Robert Shapiro and Skip Taft.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably told him that I did that. And
Sustain.
Do you recall spending the night there on June the 15th?
at
That'd be Wednesday night at Rockingham.
if I did, I don't remember, but I probably did. I know I was going back and forth and leaving pretty much all the time.
Okay, do you recall at what point you went back to, if ever, you went back to Grant Kramer's house?
I was going to Grant's a lot. I probably did every day. Would go to his house and be there.
Did you go back to his house on the night of Tuesday, June the 14th,
After the interview?
at Shapiro's with
At-
Robert
no,
Shapiro?
Yeah, at the OJ's office. I
Right.
think I did. I think I came home. It was late, and I probably got home about 11:30. Either I don't know if I stayed or not, but I could have left the Grants. That I don't remember all the time frame of whose house I was staying at. I know I wasn't sleeping well at OJ's house at all, and I was trying to go to Grant's.
So you did spend at least one night at the defendant's house, is that right?
I think I spent at least one night.
Could it have been 2 nights?
It could have.
Do you recall on Thursday the 16th whether or not you went back to Grant Kramer's house to spend the night?
On the 16th,
Yes.
I think I did.
Okay, now you had the interview with Mr. Shapiro on June the 14th. That was an hour and a half to 2 hours, you said?
Yes.
Did you have a subsequent interview with investigators employed by the defendant?
Yes, I did.
And when was that?
It was in the summertime.
Of 94?
Yes.
And who were those investigators?
One name was Hostetler, and another name was um, Klavnik,
Pavlik?
Pavlik.
And how long did that interview last?
That was about 2 to 3 hours.
Was it recorded?
I don't think it was recorded. I think it was notes.
They
It could
took
have been.
notes?
Yeah, my lawyer at the time was there. I think he would know better. I think it was just notes.
Were you ever shown a copy of those notes?
Myself, no,
Did they ever show you a copy of any report they generated as a result of that interview?
not to me, no,
Did Mr. Shapiro ever give you a copy of the tape of the interview that he conducted with you on June the 14th?
not to me, no.
Did you get a transcript of that tape at some point?
Yes,
From who?
I think it was from your office.
Now, did you have another meeting with members of the defense team
Yes,
after that 2 to 3 hour interview with Pavlik and Hostetler?
yes.
And when was that?
It was about 3 weeks ago, a month ago, right around there.
And who was at that meeting?
My Bill Janego, my lawyer, and Robert Shapiro, and myself.
And who did you speak to?
To Robert Shapiro.
And how
Yep.
long was that for?
Okay. There was another one also that I didn't go into. It was at the offices with Robert Shapiro, Carl Douglas, and Bill Janego. But I was at the office, but I didn't go in to meet.
Your lawyer met with the defendant's lawyers?
They went into a meeting room, yes, but I don't know what it was about.
And how long did that last?
Yes. I think half hour, 40 minutes.
And was it after that that you had another interview with Mr. Shapiro?
Yes,
And who was present at that interview?
myself, Bill Janego, my lawyer, and Robert Shapiro.
How long did that interview last?
Oh, 45 minutes to an hour.
And was it tape recorded?
No.
Was anybody taking any notes that you could see?
My lawyer, I think, took notes.
What about Mr.
think.
Shapiro?
I don't know. I don't know if he did or not. He was going through papers.
Mhm. Did he have an investigator there?
No.
And how long was that interview for?
About 45 minutes to an hour.
And when did that last interview, with Mr. Shapiro take place?
Like 3 weeks ago to a month. 3 weeks ago, I think, right around.
Did you have another interview after that with Mr. Shapiro?
No.
You consider yourself the defendant's friend, don't you, Mr. Kalin?
Yes,
You did back in January of 94.
yes,
You did in June of 94.
yes.
And you still do?
I'm still a friend. I'm. I know my job is to be 100% honest, and that's what I'm going to do.
Since the murders of Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown, can you tell us how many acting jobs you've acquired?
I think 4. You have. Do you want me to name them? That I know. I Talk Soup.
That was on E! Channel.
E.
You hosted that show?
Yes. There was a show called The Watcher that we just did.
You had a role in that show, did
Yes. There was a the USA Today.
you? And what was that?
It was like a hosting job.
You hosted that show, did you?
Yes, with
Right.
a comedian woman.
What
I-
else?
I did a current affair piece
And what did that piece consist of?
just about myself. nothing with the case.
Did you discuss your role as a witness, though? Not the testimony that you were going to give, but the fact that you were a witness.
Well, I didn't say they knew I was a witness. I didn't talk about being a witness. It was me saying, I mean, they knew I was a witness, and I said things. I never saw it, the show. I don't know what went on, but they knew I was a witness, and yes, there was like
There was some
me.
discussion of that.
Yes,
And how many segments was that?
I did it in a day and a half,
Do you know over how many days it aired on the television?
3.
And what else did you do?
Watch her. What is?
Any feature films?
Yeah, One Call for Life or Death.
You had what kind of role? Leading role, supporting role,
Supporting.
and anything else?
I think that's it.
Do you have anything planned for the future on television?
I hope so. I mean, I have on TV. There's a film supposed to happen. It's the 16th minute.
Mm-hmm.
If it's going to go, nothing is set.
And are you going to play a leading role in that?
That hasn't been decided, but probably.
And what about anything else you've done on television that's going to air? Fox TV?
Oh, that's a voiceover
For an animated series?
cartoon called Eek the Cat.
Your Honor, may I be permitted to go over so I can complete this for a few minutes?
A little. How much over?
5 minutes.
Go.
Thank you. Now, you've been attempting to establish yourself in the field of acting for how many years, sir?
A long time.
More than 10 years?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say that you've had more acting roles in the last 9 months since the murders of Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown than you have in the last 10 years?
Yes.
When the defendant came back from the recital on June the 12th after seeing Nicole, what was his demeanor?
From the recital,
That's right.
he was upset about not being able to see Sydney. And he mentioned the comment about the outfits.
And was he angry with Nicole?
It
Hold on. Sustain, rephrase the question.
What was his attitude about Nicole?
Well, it was over. The relationship was over. Was mentioned that Nicole and him were no longer together.
And in what tone of voice did he say that?
It was matter of fact. Nicole and I are over.
He was not angry with her?
It wasn't. I don't know what you mean by angry. What anger is?
Was he yelling?
No.
Was he screaming?
No.
You ever told anybody that he was yelling and screaming about Nicole when he came back from the recital on June the 12th?
No.
What about his demeanor when he was getting ready to leave for the airport after 11 o'clock? How would you describe it?
Rushed.
In a hurry?
Yes.
Did he seem to be agitated or upset?
That he was in a rush. Definitely was trying to hurry.
Did he seem very frazzled?
Well, when we tried to get the flashlight, we didn't get the flashlight. It was up, didn't get it, and he went to the limo.
Mm-hmm.
And I was frazzled. I don't know what the word, but we didn't set the alarm, so his mind was elsewhere. for not setting the alarm.
Was his demeanor at that time unusual based on what you had seen of him on prior occasions?
Well, that's one of the first times I see him like late for something like a flight, so I can't compare it to. But yeah, he was in a hurry, and it was frazzled to get in the car.
Do you recall telling anyone that he was more nervous and frazzled than you'd ever seen him before? That you'd never seen him in that condition before?
No, I didn't say that.
When you spoke to the defendant before the recital, do you recall the subject matter of his relationship with Nicole coming up?
That came up a few times that it was over. The relationship was over.
Came up a few times during that day, did it?
Well, yes, it came up. Just that was part of the conversation. It was that we had a white picket. He wanted the white picket fence, the family, but it was over, and he wasn't sure about Paula, if she was the one.
Mm-hmm. And when he made those statements about it being over with Nicole, was he angry?
I think he was saying it was over. It could have been inside, but I couldn't think for him what he was thinking. He could have been upset and angry.
No, it's being non-responsive. Motion is granted. Ladies and gentlemen, you disregard that last comment.
When he made those statements that we referred to about Nicole, can you describe his body language?
There's different times. One was sitting in a chair.
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Did he?
Well, they've gone on to something. There was a non-responsive answer to the question, so we'll ignore it at this point.
When he made the remark to you after the recital about Nicole and her tight dresses, did he clench his teeth?
Sustained.
Otherwise, it's going to be vague.
Rephrase the question.
What was the defendant's physical demeanor, his physical body movements when he talked to you about Nicole wearing tight dresses?
Overruled.
Answer.
You can answer the question.
Oh, that he was upset. He made a point to say the tight dresses that I mentioned before.
Did you see him
That-
clench his fist or his teeth?
I didn't see like that clenching his fist or his teeth. He was upset, and it was like, oh, those wearing those tight outfits. When I mentioned, what are they going to do when they're grandmas?
Mm-hmm. Longer than I thought, Your Honor. I give up.
5 minutes? 10
Probably.
minutes?
15 or 20, I think. I'm sorry. I was hopeful. But
Let's finish. All right. $14.92. What's our? Need another notebook. Deputy McNair, another notebook. Need two. Just one. Just $14.92. You using both sides? All right, Madam Reporter, you ready? Ms. Clark. Because of the arrangements with the jury, we do have an absolute 4 o'clock limit today.
Hi, guys.
When you went back to Rockingham after going to Grant Kramer's house, what was the first thing? And you saw the defendant there.
On Monday?
Yes.
Okay.
What was the first thing he said to you?
Overruled.
That we're watching TV, but the TV was on, and I was on the side, but no one was in the room yet, and I don't know what station it was, but they were doing a time frame, and it was just about the trip to McDonald's, and it mentioned something about the time frame, and that they mentioned a time. But the time was about 9:40 that I had not seen him, and OJ said that he said no, Cato knows that I was in the house.
And what did he say to you?
That was it. Cato, you know I was in the house.
Do you recall telling Grant Kramer that the defendant said to you, "Oh, thank God, you can tell them I was home all the time"?
No, that's what I said. That Cato knows I was home.
That's what he said?
That was his.
Overruled.
Is that what he said?
Yes.
And your response was?
That I didn't see go in the house because I went to my guest room.
When you were talking to the defendant about earlier in the day about playing golf and playing cards, he talked to you about his golf game?
It could have been in past that we golfed. I asked how he did. He said he did okay.
He said he did okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Did he complain about any pain in his arms or his hands at that time?
No.
Later on in the evening, did he complain when you went to McDonald's of having cut or bruised his hands in any way?
No.
When he referred to Nicole before the recital, what words did he use to describe her?
Before the 2:30 hour or so. Um, there wasn't like a lot of talk about it at that hour. It was 2:30 hour was kind of the casual talk about the golf game. It was they were over. I mean, I've heard that before, so I never, you know, gave it much. Oh, it's over again or not because it got back and forth. It was back and forth. So I was like, you never knew if it was over or not. I mean, I didn't know.
Did this time seem different to you?
Not at the 2:30. No.
When did it seem different to you?
Well, I
Sustained. Rephrase the question.
When, if ever, did it seem different to you?
see. That's what I don't know when different because it was off and on a lot.
You said it not at 2:30. It did not seem like this time it was different.
Well, after that, the recitals, there was a comment about something that was more direct about the dresses, but still, that didn't really mean it was over. In my head, I wasn't thinking maybe it's over for that day or two, but I couldn't, assume that it was over for good.
Did the defendant ever tell you about a bracelet he bought for Nicole in May of 1994 for her birthday?
I knew something about a bracelet, but I don't know the whole story on the bracelet.
What did the defendant tell you about that?
Overruled.
From what I remember, and it's not exact, is that the bracelet was for Nicole, and I thought it might have been a birthday gift because her birthday was in May.
And was it just, did he describe it to you at all?
I don't remember that. I know it was diamonds and expensive, but I'm not into jewelry, so I didn't pay attention really.
So he told you he bought her an expensive diamond bracelet for her birthday in May of 1994. Is that right?
At some point, I knew about a bracelet. I mean, I don't think he specifically told me. I think I heard he bought her a bracelet.
Did he tell you whatever happened with that bracelet?
Oh, well,
Then I know it went to Paula.
The defendant gave it to Paula after he gave it to Nicole?
I believe so.
And do you know how the defendant came to have that bracelet back after he gave it to Nicole?
I don't. I think it was given back.
sustained. Curious to disregard that as being a speculative answer.
During the afternoon, did the defendant complain to you that he was unable to shuffle the cards at the country club that day when he played cards after playing golf?
Sustained.
Do you recall having any conversations about the physical condition of the defendant's hands at the Riviera Country Club on the date of June the 12th?
No.
You and the defendant, when you walked out to McDonald's, did you walk behind him? When you walked out to go to the car to go to McDonald's, did you walk behind him?
Yes.
And did you walk through the pool area behind him?
Overruled.
We walked to the back door
Yes.
and through the bar area.
Okay. And you
Yes.
were walking behind him, were you?
Yes.
And where did you walk then?
To the kitchen nook, out the door to the car.
And you were walking behind him the whole time?
Yeah, pretty much so. I think he was leading.
Did he walk funny?
No.
Was he limping?
No.
And when you got into the car, you indicated you went to a McDonald's on Santa Monica Boulevard.
Yes.
Is that the closest McDonald's to Rockingham?
No.
Which one is closer?
There is one on, I believe, Wilshire.
On Wilshire?
Yes.
But you didn't go to that one.
No.
Who chose which McDonald's to go to? Who chose the place to go and eat?
OJ.
And you're sure you did not go to Burger King?
Oh, yes.
You went to
No.
McDonald's?
McDonald's.
Without the court reporter. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our recess for the afternoon at this point. As you know, we've had a modified court schedule, a little shorter than normal the last couple of weeks, and we're going to be modifying it again, but I'll chat with you about that later in the week. We're going to stand in recess then until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Mr. Kalin, you are ordered not to discuss your testimony with any other person other than the attorneys on the case. You're ordered to be here tomorrow morning, 8:45.
Yes.
All right. All right, we'll stand in recess tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. And we'll have another DNA and discovery motion tomorrow at 3:15.
Person's residence. During one of those days, Cato called Kramer on the phone and spoke very covertly. Cato sounded very excited on the telephone and said he could not talk. Cato
Sorry if I missed a sidebar. I had to go start laundry real quick.
told Kramer, quote, "Just be careful," end quote. Kramer replied, quote, "Why, is my life in danger?" end quote. Cato abruptly said, "No, I didn't say that."
That's it.
Exactly what well, there's more to it, but that's exactly what I cross-examined Cato about.
Why don't we finish with more? Our point is that I believe Ms. Clark tried to insinuate.
Well, let me just see if there's more.
Okay.
Well, no, there's nothing on that. The rest of it goes on. Then Cato arrived at Kramer's residence on Friday morning, June the 17th, and Kramer reluctantly allowed him inside. And it was the same day that Detectives Carr and Tippin served him with a grand jury subpoena. There's nothing more about the events at Rockingham. That's all.
All right.
Is that a good faith offer of proof or what? I mean, the witness said exactly what I confronted our witness with. And Mr. Shapiro has this report.
All
I don't
right.
know what kind of game he's playing now. Let's call jury, Your Honor.
Your Honor, my recollection of the questions yesterday were that they went into the demeanor of Mr. Simpson and what Cato Kalin told Grant Kramer about Mr. Simpson's demeanor and how out of sorts it was. And I have to this date not received any other reports than the simple paragraph that Ms. Clark has read to Your Honor. And I would still urge the court to make an inquiry of Ms. Clark as to where the reports are that talk about Cato Kalin talking to Grant Kramer about demeanor.
Oh, do I have to read everything to him? Jeez.
Ms. Clark,
Page 906, Your Honor.
Ms. Clark,
I'm sorry.
that kind of comment's not necessary.
I apologize to the court. I'm sorry. Cato told Kramer and Shea.
What page are you
I'm
on?
sorry, page 906.
All right.
Kramer's talking about Cato's recounting of OJ's demeanor at the time at the limo, after the limo had arrived. Cato told Kramer that he observed OJ to be frazzled and out of breath, quote unquote, and did not look like he had just awakened from sleep at the time the limo driver arrived. I think that's what I asked him.
Okay. And was there another question, to my recollection, concerning Mr. Simpson's demeanor after the recital?
Yes, there was, and that is pursuant to an anonymous, actually on two separate occasions, anonymous tips that we have received. One anonymous, one not. One from either an ex-girlfriend or the ex-wife of Cato Kalin on television, saying that he described the defendant's demeanor after the recital as being furious, angry, yelling, and shouting. We received a backup to that yesterday, another tip, in which Cato had allegedly told that witness as well that after the recital he was furious, yelling and screaming and shouting about Nicole.
All right. When did you receive this information regarding the ex-wife or ex-girlfriend?
Okay, that was on television. That was a news report, a news interview, and that was, I don't remember when. I think it was maybe 2-3 weeks ago. I don't have a report on it. It was on television.
Have you subpoenaed this person?
Not yet. Actually, I have Detective Van Adder trying to locate her.
He's sitting right here.
Well, him personally, his helpers. He's aware of this.
All right. Any comment as to that issue?
My understanding of the law in California is that good faith requires something more than tabloid television or tabloid newspapers to be able to ask questions on cross-examination in the way that they were asked yesterday. Minimum, a follow-up, knowing that this witness was a key witness and had been was the first witness interviewed in this case in June of 1994. That coming to court now 10 months later and saying we still haven't followed up on other reports, knowing from that day he gave them the name of Grant Kramer and said he had been with Grant Kramer. Clearly, I think the court should find there was bad faith and that the jury should be admonished that questions were asked in bad faith and that there was no basis, in fact, for asking them.
All right, thank you, counsel.
Excuse me, Your Honor, the court should be aware that Mr. Kalin did not volunteer to us that he went to Grant Kramer's house. That is false. We found that out independently. And there's been no bad faith here. I think that's obvious. You know, the witness interview that I talked about, the fact that someone says it on television, this is not a reporter characterizing what this woman said. This is the woman herself on television saying it. So that's a little different. You know, we have someone who is saying it, who has been viewed probably nationally saying what I have represented to Mr. Kalin. If he chooses not to admit that he said that, that's his choice. But it certainly is a good faith showing. It's not required that I have statements under oath. And Mr. Shapiro is very well aware of that. He's simply trying to protect his witness. But this woman did state personally on television what I confronted Mr. Kalin with. Furthermore, with respect to the statement about Grant Kramer,
Do you have a videotape of this interview?
we've been trying to locate that. You know, ever since I heard about it, we've been trying to locate the tape. People have called me who have seen it and told me about it. So I mean, I'm not.
What news program was this on?
I believe it was Channel 7, and that's why it's been difficult to locate. 3 people called me to say that they had seen this woman talking on television. It was a 7 or 7:30 show during the week about the statements that Kalin had made to her concerning the defendant's demeanor. And we've been trying to locate the footage as well as the person. And Detective Van Etter can actually testify to the fact that I've requested him to locate this person, because I did immediately upon hearing that. But certainly I have enough for a good faith showing to ask Mr. Kalin about this and confront him with it. If he admits it, then fine. And if he doesn't, the witness will be produced. But in any
I
case,
think he's already been confronted with those 2 issues, 3 issues, hasn't he?
right.
Right.
Well, and the court is aware of the fact that we are prepared to back it up. And Mr. Kalin did not volunteer his conversations with Grant Kramer. He never volunteered the name. We found that out on our own.
All right, thank you, counsel.
Your Honor, may I refer the court most respectfully to page 348 of the murder book, the first report that was filed, and that was the report of Officer Tippin and Carr regarding Grant Kramer, regarding Cato Kalin. And the first line of that report on page 2 is friend and business partner Grant Kramer, and it gives his number.
All right, thank you. All right, counsel, I find the offer of proof to be sufficient for the purposes of the examination of this witness. I'll overrule the objection at this time. Let's have the jury. Mr. Kalin, would you please resume the witness stand, please?
Oh, Cato, I want to hear what you have to say right now. I do, but I can't. I have to go. We have to go. We have to get busy for today, guys. This is my Monday. I had off yesterday, so it's time to start the week. I have to make shorts from yesterday's stream. I still have YouTube work to do. Guys, it was so great seeing you today, even though I left. John, I hope you have a great trip. And I'll see you when you get back. You can still pop in. You know, you can look in YouTube on your phone, wherever you are. So I'll see you guys again soon. Thanks for coming out. Just showing up means everything. I hope you guys have a great day and stay cool. Bye, guys.